Hello, Ellie here from Thankful Flow Yoga. Thank you for joining me for another YouTube practice. Now this flow today is going to be a stretchy flow, suitable for all levels. This could be a really good flow to do if you've got kind of tight glutes and hamstrings, but we will be doing all sorts of stretches today. So as usual, do have any blocks or props that you might need. If you don't have blocks, you could use books instead. And also just a quick mention that if you're someone who enjoys doing these flows with me on YouTube, I'm offering for the month of May a trial of my monthly membership of on-demand and pre-recorded yoga videos. There's longer practices on there that you don't get on YouTube, and it goes more in depth into some kind of yoga philosophy and things like that. So do comment below on this video or contact me if you would like a free trial of the membership for May. There's also the link to the website below, so do take a look at that and let me know. So we will get started in a comfortable seated position. You can either have your legs crossed or you can bring them out in front, whatever's most comfortable for you to start the class. And coming into a neutral position with the spine here, so reaching the crown of the head towards the ceiling. And closing the eyes when you're ready, or taking a steady gaze somewhere out in front. And today bringing one hand to the chest, one hand to the belly. And start to notice the connection between your hands and your body. As you breathe, observe which parts of the body rise and fall with your breath. And allow your sitting bones to connect to the earth. Softening the shoulders, the neck, the jaw. Seeing how your breath feels today. No right or wrong. Maybe the breath is flowing smoothly, freely. Or maybe it feels a little bit restricted, maybe it feels quite fast, quite wound up. Again, no judgment on any of this, really just noticing what's there, not even trying to change anything, just being aware, seeing where you're at today, what's alive for you. And opening the eyes back up when you're ready. Release the hands. Bring your right fingertips to the ground beside you. Inhale, sweep the left arm up to the sky. Lift up and out the waist. Exhale, come into a stretch. We're going to float these stretches today. So as you exhale, bring the left hand back down. Inhale, lift up and out from the waist first. Exhale, stretch over to the other side. And then keep flowing with your breath from one side to the other. Keeping these movements nice and light. And seeing if you can take an inhale as you come through center and make space, and an exhale as you flow into the stretch. And this hand that's coming down is really just a gesture to support us. We're not putting a lot of weight through the grounded hand. So really using strength and stretch through the core, through the abdomen, from the root to stabilize. So taking your last stretch here on each side. And meeting back in a neutral position. And start to bring your left hand to your right knee or thigh. Right hand comes out behind you. Inhale, lift up and out from the waist. Exhale, twist to the right. Follow with your gaze. Taking some deep breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. Making space on the inhales and releasing, relaxing on the exhale. And release, come back through to center, coming into the other side. So right hand to the left knee or thigh, left hand comes out behind you. Inhale, find some lift. Exhale, twist to the left. Really breathing into the twist. Finding space as you breathe in. And releasing and relaxing as you breathe out. Notice how the spine's feeling, the back, the shoulders, the neck. Really checking in with your body. Bringing some awareness into the body. Awareness to the breath. And awareness to any thoughts passing through your mind. And release, come back to center. Now from here, we're going to make our way into deer pose. So we're going to keep the right leg crossed in and then see how it feels to drop that left knee down. So we're internally rotating with the left hip, coming into this position with the legs. Now, if that doesn't feel right for you, you've got a couple of options. You could either take some props under this left knee, or you could take the leg lengthened instead. Now, be really mindful of that knee joint if anything doesn't feel right. What can sometimes happen is if we're quite a little bit tighter in the hips, it can mean we've got less mobility there. And what we don't want is that knee joint to have pressure on it because of that. So if you need to take the leg lengthened, then take that option. So from here, whatever you've gone for, inhale, lift your ribs away from your hips, and then exhale. See if you can take a gentle fold forwards, but leading with the chest. So that might be still staying quite upright, so not compromising the length of the spine, but seeing if you can take a subtle fold. And what you may feel here is that you're getting a stretch through the hips as well. So you can come lower down if that feels good too, coming down to the forearms perhaps. But really important to keep the space across the chest and keep the spine long. So this fold is coming with a lengthened spine rather than grounding. Breathing here, inhaling and exhaling. Inhale, come back up to center. And then move this guy to the side. Bring your right hand to the ground behind and leave plenty of space. So plenty of space here between your hips and the hand. On your next inhale, sweep the left fingertips up to the sky and imagine that you're lifting your heart and your chest towards the ceiling here. So seeing if you can find a little bit of spinal extension, a little bit of a back bend. Now, either working here, or if it feels good to, lightly start to bring the hips away from the mat and press the hips up towards the ceiling and sending your gaze to the sky. Maybe the head's dropping back slightly. Exhale, release the hips back down to the mat. Come back to center, well done. Now we'll move on to the other side. So this time we've got the left leg bending in. And remember as well, you could take a block under the left thigh as well. So use your blocks and props to bring the ground up closer and support you in your practice. Then this right leg's either lengthened or we're dropping the right knee in and finding your deer pose here. And this right heel could be coming closer to your hip or further away, depending on what feels right for you. So starting with a neutral spine, inhale, lift the ribs away from the hips. Exhale, starting to fold forward. Remembering it's not about coming further down into the fold. It's really about keeping that space across the chest, keeping the spine long. So if that means staying higher up, then that's a great place to be. So just being where you need to be and reconnecting to your breath. Noticing where you can feel the opening within the body. Noticing how your breath feels. Inhale, start to come up from the fold. And then this time the left hand comes out behind, leave plenty of space between your hand and the hips. Inhale, sweep the right fingertips up to the sky. See if you can lift your heart towards the ceiling. Maybe the hips start to come away, press the hips to the sky, finding an opening through the body. Breathing here, keep breathing, inhaling and exhaling. Exhale, well done. Release the hips back down, coming back to center. And then we're gonna bring the legs so that the soles of the feet are grounded and take a window right with the knees from side to side now. From here, start to bring your legs out in front. So legs are lengthened and flex the feet. Doesn't matter if you've got a little bit of bend in the legs here. And then starting from a neutral spine position, inhale, reach the crown of your head to the ceiling. Exhale, start to fold forwards and leading with the chest. So again, if that's staying higher up, then work there. Your hands could be coming to the shins, the thighs, the shins, or the feet. Really important to prioritize the length of the spine. So taking your breaths here. Allowing the backs of the legs to open. You might find that with your breath on your inhales, maybe you make a little bit of space in the body, lifting the chest slightly, and on your exhales, maybe sinking further into that fold. Inhale, come up from your padotonasana, back to neutral. And then bring yourself around into your tabletop position. So your all fours position on the mat, and you can have cushioning under the knees. Our shoulders are above the wrists, hips above the knees. Start to move into some cat and cow. So lifting the gaze, opening across your chest. Exhale, drop your head, come up and out of the shoulders and around your spine. Draw the belly button in, tuck the tailbone in. Inhale, lift the gaze, shine the heart forwards. Exhale, drop your head around the spine. Inhale, lifting the gaze, opening across the heart space. Exhale, drop the head around the spine. Inhale, come back to a neutral position with the spine now. And we're going to ground through the left hand. Inhale, reach your right fingertips up to the sky. Exhale, thread the right arm through. And you can make this movement as big or as small as you want it to be. So you could bend the left arm as well here, send the gaze maybe up to the sky. Moving with your breath, so inhaling, reaching that hand up to the sky, exhaling, threading it through. Inhale, reaching up, Exhale, threading through. And now finishing that last one, bring your right hand back down to the mat. Come on to the other side. Remember, you could just reduce the range of movement for these. They don't have to look how mine look. It's your practice in your body. So just remember to stay connected to that. So inhale, reach the left fingertips up to the sky. Exhale, thread the left arm through. Inhale, reach the left fingertips back up. Exhale, threading through and moving with your breath. So you could make these slower or more fluid, depending on what feels right. Just moving with the inhale and the exhale. Last one. And come back to center, bring the left hand back down, and we'll sit the hips back towards the heels and start to drop the forehead and the chest down to the mat for child's pose. It's coming into this resting pose, but we're also getting a really light stretch through the spine here. So this is a gentle stretch. It can be quite nice for the lower back. And you can close the eyes or soften your gaze and just melt into your mat. Soften the muscles, let go, surrender. Ishvara, Pranadhana, surrender to the absolute. And this is all about, part of yoga philosophy, all about accepting the infinite mysteries of the universe, of the world around us. There's lots of things that we can't control, that we don't necessarily always understand, and accepting the as is of all of that. Turning the gaze inwards. Inhale, start to come up from your child's pose. Lift the hips back above the knees. Tuck the toes under, and on your exhale, send your hips to the sky, downward facing dog. And in your downward facing dog today, just remembering you could come back to your child's pose here if downward facing dog is not something that you're feeling for. Draw the heels away from the mat, so come up on your toes, and then I want you to bend intentionally through the legs. Your legs might be a little bit bent anyway. Take an intentional bend through the legs, and then from here, press the mat away from you with your hands. Lift up and out of the shoulders, send your hips to the sky. So we're really lengthening the spine. And then from here now, start to see if you can find some length through the legs again. They don't need to be straight. They don't need to be drastically changing from where we were. But this is a really nice way in your downward facing dog to make sure that you're prioritizing the length of the spine. Sometimes when we're tight through the backs of the legs and the glutes, this can actually stop us from getting as much length in the spine in downward facing dog. So notice your breathing, send the gaze between the knees. And then start to shift the gaze between the hands and drop the knees back down. So you're coming back to your tabletop pose. From here, walk the hands out slightly and start to bend through the arms, keep the elbows tucked in, lower the body down to your front. Palms of the hands on the mat. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, peel the chest away from the mat, Cobra. You could be in a low Cobra or a high Cobra, whatever feels right for you. Press the tops of the feet into the mat, activating the legs. Exhale, release the chest back down to the ground. Inhale, start to ground through the hands, lift the chest away, come back to tabletop position. Tuck the toes under, start to walk the feet in towards the hands and lift the chest here, lengthen the spine. So I want you to find a halfway lift. Hands could be on the shins, thighs, maybe the mat. But the main thing is that we're lengthening the spine and the crown of your head's reaching towards the wall in front. Exhale, forward fold. So drop the head, keep as much bend as you want to in the legs. Inhale, sweep your fingertips up to the sky, grow your spine tall. Exhale, bring the hands through to center, Anjali Mudra. So meeting in your mountain pose, grounding through the feet. And then from here, we're going to step back and come into a wide leg position on your mat with the toes pointing forwards. Inhale, bring your arms out to the side, lift your ribs away from your hips. And as you exhale, hinge from the hips, keep the spine long and float forwards. So coming into a forward fold, see if you can keep the arms out to the side to begin with. So pausing here at this halfway point. If you need to stay higher up, then please do. And option now to either bring the hands to the hips or you're bringing them down to the mat. If they're coming down to the mat, option to take the peace fingers around the big toes here and bend through the arms, so elbows coming out to the side and dropping the head, so finding fold here. But that's just an option. Take what you need from this practice, opening up the backs of the legs. Right, the hands back to the hips. Inhale, slowly start to lift the chest. Keep the spine long as you come back up to center. Well done. We'll walk the feet in slightly now with the toes pointing out to the side. Hands starting in Anjali Mudra, prayer position. Gently start to bend through the legs. We're lowering down into our Melasma Squat. So grab your block. If you're working with a block here, so you could be popping your hips on your block and working here. Keep that lovely space across the chest, really important. Or you might find that coming down into a seated position and then finding your Melasma here works well for you. So just bring the elbows so that they are coming to the inside of the legs, and we're pressing the elbows into the knees into the elbows, and then lifting the crown of the head to the ceiling. Or you might be hovering the hips above the mat and coming into your Melasma here. Just be mindful of the ankles and the knee joints. Check in with those areas. Make sure that everything feels okay and that everything feels right. If it doesn't, then take one of the other options. So keep lengthening the spine. Engage through Mula Bandha. So your pelvic floor muscles engage. The muscles at the seat of the pelvis contracting, locking that energy from the root. And imagine that you're sending the energy from there all the way through these energy channels, running through the center line of the body, our chakras, all the way through to the crown of your head. Well done. Then releasing from Melasma, everybody meet down in a seated position and on the mat. So bring your hips down however you need to. And then we're going to meet in a lying position now. So coming down to your lying position. And keep the legs bent and bring the soles of the feet to the mat. We're going to hook this right foot on the left thigh and let your right knee drop out to the side. So see how that feels. And then either you could be working here, that might already feel enough for you, or we're going to start to lift the left foot away from the mat and bring the hands and interlace them behind the thigh, behind that left thigh, and come into this lying pigeon position. And if you need to, you can press your right elbow into that crease in the right leg, opening it further. Now, if you're finding here that you're straining and your head and your shoulders are pulling away from the mat, what we need to do is use a dressing gown tie for this. We want something that hasn't got a lot of give. So what you could be doing instead for this stretch is to give you more space, because we really would like the head and the shoulders to be nice and heavy on the mat for this. Instead, what you can do is bring your strap around the back of the left thigh. So thread it around, and then you can bring your hands to the strap instead of needing to interlace them around the back of the left leg. So this gives you much more space if you're feeling like you were here to come down to the mat. And then you can draw that leg in, finding that really deep stretch through the right glutes, the right hip space, breathing here. So opening up into Svadhisthana, second chakra, located in the hips. One more breath here. And start to release the left leg back down to the ground. Unhook your right leg. Take a gentle window wipe with the knees from side to side. Take any movement here that you need. And then meeting back with the legs in neutral. Hook the left foot this time to the right thigh and let your left knee open out to the side. And quite often our hips on each side could feel potentially very different. So just being mindful and showing some kindness and compassion towards yourself, if that's the case for you. You can take a different option on each side. Just keep listening to your body. So again here, either working here, or you can start to lift that right foot away from the mat. Maybe you find it interlaced with the hands behind the right thigh, or use your strap. So if you're using the strap, that's threading behind the right thigh, and you've got your hands on the strap, drawing it in, head and shoulders resting heavy on the ground. Breathing here. Taking one more deep breath. Then releasing the hands, let the right leg drop down, and then unhook the left leg. Window wipe the legs from side to side. So now what we've done here is we've stretched into the hips with a external hip rotation. And I have talked about this in other videos. We need to be stretching as well with an internal hip rotation. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this right leg and cross it over the left leg and hook it completely over. So as if you're sat cross-legged, or hopefully you can see, I'm hooking it as far over as I can. So see how this feels first. And what we're doing is we're internally rotating the hip now. And then what we're going to do from here is lift the left leg away from the mat, and we're drawing both knees in this hook in towards the body. So this can feel quite strong, this one. Again, you may like to have a strap to hand here. So we're either going to bring the hands to find maybe the ankles or the shins and use them to draw our legs in towards the body, and you will hopefully feel a deep stretch through the right glute. All our bodies are different, so if it feels different for you, then don't worry. Just observe how it feels for you. But drawing the legs in so we can get this lovely stretch and opening. Now, if you're finding, again, that you're straining here, come back to using the strap. So what you could do is wrap this strap over both legs, so it's coming over this left shin, and then slide the hands down the strap and use the strap to hug the legs in whilst you've got the rest of the body grounded to the mat, so giving yourself some more space. A really nice option. Breathing here. So this is a lying version of Gomukhasana. We haven't done Gomukhasana today, but it's a seated version with this position with the legs. Just keep sending your breath into the right hip. One more breath here. Slowly starting to release the strap, bring that left foot back down to the mat, unhook the right leg, take a little bit of gentle movement, could be a shuffle with the hips, taking the knees from side to side. And then meeting back in center, and we'll come into the pose on the other side. So left leg hooks right over that right leg, or as far over as you can adjust it. If this already feels really strong, you can already really feel it in the hips, then stay here and take your breaths here. Otherwise, we're lifting and drawing the legs in the hook in towards the body, taking the hands to maybe the ankles, feet, shins, and hugging the legs in towards us, or you could use the strap, wrap it over the legs, hugging in. Breathing here. You can close off the eyes or take a steady gaze. Keep bringing your awareness back to your breath and back into the body. Taking one more deep breath in this pose. And then gently releasing from the hug, drop the right foot down, unhook the left leg and window wide the knees from side to side. And then we'll hug both knees in towards the chest, either bringing the hands around the shins or to the backs of the thighs, just taking a nice gentle hug. Perhaps you find a gentle rock from side to side. And then start to release from the hug and either rock or gently make your way up to a comfortable seated position on the mat, softening the gaze. Bring one hand back to the chest and one hand to the belly. And take a moment to check in with how you're feeling, whether that's physically or mentally or emotionally, without having to label or judge whatever comes up, just allowing it to be there. Allowing yourself to be in this space you've created today. Gently press the hands into the body, feeling that connection. And I'll leave you with a mantra today, and lots of releasing, stretching through the body. The mantra today is I let go. So on your inhale, breathe in I, and on your exhale, breathe out, let go. Inhale I, exhale and let go. Releasing the hands from the body and slowly opening the eyes, taking a steady gaze out in front. If you have longer to stay in Shavasana or meditation, then please do. If you are ready to finish the practice, then thank you so much for joining me for this class. As mentioned at the beginning, I would love to have you come and do a free trial of my online monthly membership. So drop a comment below, get in touch if that's something that you're interested in for the month of May, or visit my website to see what else I offer. And I can't wait to see you for another practice very soon.